Welcome back to Let's Talk. We have Assemblywoman Holly Schepisi here from the 39th Legislative District, here to talk about flood-prone area and what New Jersey is doing to keep neighborhoods free from water. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So tell me about the flood-prone areas in the Blue Acres.
Well, in my district, District 39, we have quite a few towns such as Oakland, Mahwah, Westwood, Hillsdale, Rivervale, that we've been seeing more and more 2 to 4 inch rainstorms, 4-inch plus rainstorms, and whole areas just being wiped out with flooding that we've never seen. There is no such thing as a 100-year storm or even a 1,000-year storm anymore. So one of the initiatives that we've been working on is how to incentivize municipalities and how to make it easier for municipalities to try to purchase some of these properties. There are no easy solutions, there are no magic fixes, but in some of the areas that are repetitively flood prone, we're looking through Blue Acres and other programs to be able to help facilitate the acquisition of those properties, return them back to their natural state to help alleviate flooding in the entire municipality.
Now, where do you find the money for this?
It's actually allocated through the Green Acre program, which we just did another allocation that I believe was unanimously approved, both in the Assembly as well as the Senate. And essentially what it does is municipalities can apply for grants both through FEMA as well as through the state, which enables them to utilize the money, buy these properties from the private homeowners who apply for their properties to be acquired, and then it goes back into natural state, revert it back. And one of the issues that a lot of municipalities have been facing is depending upon when during the course of the year they acquire the properties, they could be on the hook for having to pay the taxes for the county, the school, as well as any fire assessments and the like. So we have legislation that I've sponsored, it's bipartisan legislation, that would help, and municipalities would no longer be responsible for those taxes.
Mm-hmm. Flooding has occurred all over New Jersey. How do you move those people to different areas, number one, but also how many homes were affected in your district that you know that they could be affected by Blue Acres?
We have several thousand at a minimum.
How do you, I mean, it's just to be unbelievable to be able to make that conversion, to sell those properties, to move those families.
It's a very ambitious program, and you have families who desperately want to get out because of the emotional toll, where if you're talking about being flooded out 4 or 5 times in a 2-year period, mm-hmm. you know, that takes a toll, and they hear that rain's going to come and frantic phone calls start getting made to your local officials, your county officials, and so you have a core group of people who desperately want to be able to get out of their homes and have no idea of how to do so. You also have another group that say, look, we bought this house, we want to stay here, come up with another solution. And unfortunately, it's not as easy as that.
Mm-hmm. When you toured New Jersey, what was the experience that you had seeing families displaced, whether it be in your district or down the shore? What are some things that you learned?
It's devastating. I grew up down at the Jersey Shore. We had a home down there that I spent many months each year, and driving through and watching it on television, seeing the pictures, you don't begin to get the scope of how people have been affected. In fact, I did an assembly at one of our school districts just on Friday. We were talking to the children because they went out and they raised, by the sale of socks and T-shirts, mm-hmm. Over $2,700 to go down to a sister school that they had adopted, and explaining to these children that you're talking about large segments of the state where people don't even have clothes to go to school. They lost their books. They lost their, you know, people can't get their arms around the level of devastation that people have seen and how lucky so many of us are. It's really just the task in rebuilding. I think we've just started to see just a tiny little bit of it. Mm-hmm.
We just have a few minutes left. There's a lot of things going on across the street at the Capitol today. What are some bills that you're working on or your committees are working on today?
Today, most of the bills being put forth are bills that are coming under the auspices of job creation within the state. I think many of the bills are well-intentioned. Most of them are just Democrat initiatives. I think that while many of them are very well-intentioned, we need to look at it globally and not just do a one-off type of approach. I think we really need a bipartisan initiative to incentivize businesses within the state of New Jersey, to make us a business-friendly place. We keep seeing, regardless of what we attempt to do, we consistently rank in anywhere from the bottom 5 to the bottom 2 in the country for being business friendly. And I think that we really need to take a long, hard look on how to really change our entire view of how we do business in the state of New Jersey, how we tax people in the state of New Jersey, and how do we really drive bringing businesses back to the state and not just taking one or two little initiatives, but sitting down, working together to figure out how do we do this so we sustain it long term.
Assemblywoman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. We'll be back right after this.